This entire episode, I sat back in disbelief knowing we are finally here at round 8. It has been such a long journey from the beginning, from forming a team to the After Kotor invasion arc, and here we are finally at the round where everything our team has fought for is on the line. In a way, I get quite emotional considering how invested I have been in this series over the years, but I'm gonna save my tears of joy till after the battle. So this episode, as I mentioned in last week's video, is the final preparations going into round 8. All the data and analysis we saw in last week's episode was brought back to the team in order to formulate a strategy because our opponents this time is easily going to roll out the wire strategy, and it's going to rely on just more than that to deal with the Nomiya squad. Now for this episode, I wanted to try and break things down differently into 3 sections. The first being the team strategy discussion that took up the first major part of the episode. Looking at the data we collected starting with Yuba, we again know that his revolvers pack a punch but only within a certain range. Unlike gunners who whittle people's Treon bodies and shields down, Yuba sacrifices all the extra fire and flexibility with the bullets themselves in exchange for more power and rate of fire. We clearly saw that with last week's showcase of how Kuga was decimated before he was able to react. Staying out of his mid-range, as brought up by Satomi in last week's conversation, is definitely going to be the winning point in this conversation. Additionally, for Obishima, we still don't know how much of a threat she can be on the battlefield, but we do know that she has some bullet triggers as well. Similar to Captain Oji, Kuga will need to keep his guard up for any lag bullets set up while dealing with her in battle. I personally don't think Kuga will have too much of an issue on his own, especially with his new Scorpion projectile, but only time will tell. As for the elephant in the room, the Nomiya still has no clear way of dealing with him quite yet. Even with Iyuse going on with him one-on-one, there is always a possibility of him getting caught off guard as well. The moment you go on defense against the Nomiya strategy, it's an inevitable countdown to your demise. There were a couple of ideas thrown out in this episode, but Usami brought it all down to avoiding the one-on-one confrontation in the first place, which by all means sounds like the better route in general. Nomiya isn't one that will go down easy. He plays off his usual combat strategy and covers his weaknesses through his actions, and with his teammates also doing their part, picking him off won't be such an easy task. This leads into the major development this episode regarding Chika. At the end of her major breakdown episode, we saw that towards the end, it looked as if she was about to take her first step towards conquering the barrier in front of her regarding her shooting real bullets. In this episode, she announces that she will use real bullets and a lot of possibilities open up there. Just knowing what we know about Chika and her Treon volume, can you imagine her in a shootout? She could potentially do a mix of lead and real bullets too, and that would definitely catch Nomiya off guard in a shootout. Even then, she just wins off the sheer amount of Treon volume she has in comparison. Her sniping would also take off limbs or be one-hit kills if aimed correctly as well. I want to point out that Mikumo confirming that she can in fact shoot people was by no means an easy thing for him to do. He was already wary about pushing her to a limit that she may not be able to come back from, but as a captain, this is a burden he must carry. Any of the emotional or mental distress that befalls on the teammates is the captain's responsibility as well, but Chika is indeed ready to step it up and take that lead into a surprise that only anime-only folks will get to see down the line. As a precaution though, Mikumo is going to be in charge of when she shoots to essentially take off some of the burden off of her. I guarantee what is going to come in terms of Chika firing is going to blow so many anime-onlys away, no pun intended. Now the next section I want to briefly talk about is the theory testing. Now Mikumo got into contact with Karasuma and he's asking for some help back at base. Giving Iyuse a bit of practice before heading into the final battle is what he needs to mentally prepare his reaction time, and so that's what he does. Fit and Treon levels too, we see the two go at it as the theory of going on defense means doom is 100% correct. Even with the Escudo, Iyuse is a doomed man if he stops and goes on the defense regardless if he's able to hold out for a brief period of time. So what can the rest of the team do? Well, this pretty much falls on Mikumo going for the unexpected. See, one thing Mikumo has gotten good at was analyzing character, and over time, he has noticed that Nomiya might be one person to act on emotion rather than logic, and that right there is the exact final piece to the puzzle he needed to create his own strategy. Forcing Nomiya into the 1v1 that we are supposed to be avoiding might actually just be the play. It's not that this is a careless thing to do, but it's how you use the one-on-one engagement to your advantage that will determine the winner. Again, no spoilers, but just prepare yourselves to be surprised. The last portion of the episode is leading up to the final countdown. We get our last group dinner with pushing towards the final home stretch. Seeing the amount of agents from over the course of the series come to this match lets you know how serious this final battle is. Despite all the setbacks and the tough battles, our crew has arrived to their final match against arguably their toughest opponents yet. With the map choice being Cityscape B, there is going to be a lot of building cover and moving within the crevices of the city. Additionally, snipers will hold a valuable role in this final battle given the circumstances, and most importantly, those with the best strategy will stand on top once more. This episode animated chapters 182, 183, and some early parts of chapter 184. Next week, round 8 kicks off with the initial team talk, and we will be heading straight into the battle. And with that, it's gonna bring me to the end of this review. As always, if you have enjoyed this video and would like to see me do more World Trigger content, then make sure to hit that like and subscribe button on your way out, and leave any comments about the episode down below. As always, thank you for watching, stay safe and warm out there, and I will catch you guys in the beginning of round 8.